Alright guys, welcome back for another video. I took a day off from making videos because I was tired yesterday. I had a long week, and so we're back at it now. Isiah Thomas, the second greatest point guard of all time. I don't know about that, man. This is gonna be tough. I'm quite sure he's gonna be talking about a lot of stats and stuff that Isiah Thomas has that would make him supposedly the second greatest point guard, probably behind Magic Johnson. But I don't know. He can have to intrigue me to have me believing that he's the second greatest point guard. I don't know. But we're gonna get to the video. Enough talking. Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all new, and let's go. Shout out to Johnny Arnett for the video.
Today's video is potentially the beginning of a new series, which I'm calling my Hot Take series. Every basketball fan has some hot takes, which I define as opinions that go against the consensus thinking of the basketball community. Getting you to respect my unpopular...
Let me make sure my audio is up so you can hear, because somebody said in the other video that he couldn't hear. So I just tweaked it up a little bit, so hopefully now you can hear. And yeah.
Conclusions may be difficult, and I fully expect some of my most disliked videos to come from this series. But regardless, it might get us all to think, and could contribute to some good basketball conversations. Today's video is about the second greatest point guard of all time. Most people agree about who's the best of the best, as Magic Johnson was a 5-time champion, is the all-time leader in assists per game, and has several of the greatest performances of NBA Finals history. You'll get no argument from me concerning the top spot, but as for second overall, that one is an absolute dog.
Could be John Stockton.
Point guards like John Stockton, Chris Paul, Gary Payton, Oscar Robertson, Steph Curry, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, and of course, Isiah Thomas.
Man, you look at this list: Steph Curry, Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Oscar Robertson, John Stockton, and of course Isiah Thomas. That's tough, man. Let's get to the video first before I get my take on this.
First off, let me establish the kind of player that Isiah Thomas was. He stood 6 foot 1 inches tall and was drafted in 1981 with the second overall pick by the Detroit Pistons.
I was 2 years old.
He played 13 seasons in the NBA and played only until the age of 32, when his career ended with an Achilles tear. More on this in a bit. Isiah was one of the greatest ball handlers of NBA history. With his incredible quickness and agility, he was extremely difficult to defend. Isiah was also one of the greatest dual-threat point guards the game has ever
was quick as hell.
As he could dominate you with his explosive scoring, or he could completely control the game with his elite facilitating. In his career, he averaged 19.2 points, 9.3
I didn't know he averaged that many points per game for his career.
45.2% shooting. He was a 12-time All-Star, a 2-time NBA champion, and was the 1990 Finals MVP. During his individual prime in 1985, he averaged 21.2 points and 13.9 assists, which made him one out of only 3 players to ever average over 20 points and over 12 assists in the same season. His 13.9 assists.
He must did it a lot.
That
dribbling and slide on the floor like that, and still dribbling.
John Stockton. And again, Stockton was never close to being the type of scorer that Isiah Thomas was. Think of the greatest point guards of all time. How many of them can take over a game offensively like Isiah?
Just want to pause it and pull out my jersey that I have like that. But it's not Isiah Thomas. It's oh shit, Allen Iverson. But yeah.
Isiah can, who also averaged north of 10 assists per game. How many of them could dominate a playoff game with 15 assists and follow it up the next game with a 35-point performance? John Stockton couldn't do that. Steph Curry couldn't do that.
John Stockton wasn't a big scorer anyway.
Jason Kidd or Gary Payton. But that was a common occurrence for Isiah Thomas, and that should tell you just how special of a player he was. It wasn't uncommon for him to run the floor like John Stockton for 3 quarters.
But he's more of a scoring guard. But he's taking play point guard too.
As Zeke had some of the most dominant postseason performances of league history. like when he scored a scorching 16 points in the final 94 seconds of an elimination game against the New York
Damn.
Knicks in 1984. Or how about when he severely sprained his ankle in Game 6 of the 1988
I'm sorry, man. You see how he just filming for like somebody shot him in the back or something?
NBA
Oh,
Finals.
man.
And instead of sitting out like many would
But
have,
I apologize for laughing because I done had injuries like that before too. But I don't think I did all that. But maybe it hurt real bad though.
he stayed in the game and dropped 25 points in the third quarter alone,
Damn.
which is still the record for the most points ever scored
That
in a
is
quarter
tough, though.
of an NBA Finals
To
game.
sprain your ankle that
He
bad
finished that
and came back in the
with an
game and
incredible
score
43
25 points.
8 assists, and 6 steals on 56%
Damn.
shooting from the field. Again, this came from a player who has the highest seasonal assist per game average other than John Stockton. I just don't think people wrap their minds around how truly incredible that is. Isiah earned his 2 championships, as he was one of the most clutch performers the game has ever seen.
Ooh,
And during
ooh.
their championship run in 1989, he led his team to eliminate Michael Jordan and the Bulls, Larry Bird and the Celtics, and Magic Johnson and the Lakers. No one else can say they've done that. When you talk about strength of competition, that's about as good as it gets.
But he didn't do it by himself, man. It's a
Would
team
probably like
effort,
me to
man.
remind you that if it wasn't for a terrible foul call in the closing moments of Game 6 of the 1988 NBA Finals, which has become known as the Phantom Foul, then the Isiah Thomas Pistons would have won.
That was kind of a foul. Look, he got a little body.
Done it since the Celtics dynasty in the 1960s. I've said it once and I'll say it again, but I believe Isiah Thomas is the second greatest point guard of all time. Now, most people don't agree with this statement, and I believe there are several reasons for this. For one, during the best seasons of his career, he played in the league against Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, who had a rivalry that the league was obsessed with promoting.
Yeah.
And he also played against a young and rising Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
who was certainly being groomed by the league and the media to be an icon and the face of the NBA.
Which he
When
did.
that
He
is
was.
the kind of icons and circumstances you're up against, well then it's no wonder how Isiah Thomas has become so overshadowed in league history. Second is how unpopular his Detroit Pistons were in the late 80s.
Yeah, 'cause they
Almost
played
every
dirty.
basketball fan
Look at him,
outside of
boom.
Detroit hated the Pistons during that era because of their extra level of physicality and their on-the-court antics.
Oh!
Now, whether or not
Hold on, I gotta go back. I'm sorry.
because of their extra
Damn,
level
you
of
see him in the
physicality
face?
and their on-the-court
Beat.
antics.
Damn.
Now, whether or not you like Isiah Thomas from a personal
Yeah, they were low
standpoint
down, though.
is up to you. But regardless, that doesn't change the reality of how good he was as a basketball player. It just changes whether or not people choose to acknowledge it. Lastly, the third reason why I think people don't put Isiah as high on the
Damn.
list as I do is because his career totals aren't as high as many of the all-time great point guards. But there's context that needs to be acknowledged here. Personally, when I'm looking at and deciding my all-time great rankings, I care less about a player's career totals, and instead, I put
Yeah.
more stock in how good the players were when they were at their best.
Yeah,
And
and how much they
Isiah was
impact
almost
their
as good as
team.
it gets at the point guard position during his prime years. He only played
Damn.
until the age of 32, and if he had played longer, you would see him right around the top of many lists. When you look at his 979 games against the first 979 games of some of the great competition at point guard,
Damn.
you can begin to see just how much Isiah stands out among the crowd. Now, statistically, this certainly isn't the greatest 979 game stretch that we've ever seen from a point guard, as Oscar Robertson specifically really filled up the stat sheet
It's a
to
triple-double.
greater extent, albeit in a more statistically productive era. But when you consider Isiah's heroics and success in the postseason, in combination with his great production
No.
in a short career,
Damn.
to me, that's the winning formula that puts him over the top as the second greatest point guard of all time. So now it's your turn. How do you rank your top 3 point guards of all time? And do you have any hot take opinions of your own? Let me know in the
Damn.
comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
All right, Johnny. That was a good video. I ain't gonna lie, that was a good video. But, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough, cause you got a lot of very, very good point guards that either played or are still playing, like Steph and Chris Paul. I don't know, man. This who's the number 2 point guard, man? You might can say Isaiah Thomas, but I wasn't a big fan of Isaiah Thomas. But I respect his game and stuff. Uh, but I don't know. Oh, that's tough. I don't know, man. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all think he's the number 2 point guard in history? Um, Give me y'all thoughts on that. Like I said, it was a great video. Shout out to Johnny Arnett. He had some pretty dope videos. Y'all need to check him out. I will put the link to the actual video down below so y'all can watch it without me rambling and pausing and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Y'all subscribe if you're new, and come back with more videos, man. I'm coming back with more videos. So peace.